Maya, after 12 years with Horizon Tech. "We're restructuring your position," Vincent Drake announced, his voice carrying a barely concealed note of satisfaction. The words landed with a dull weight in the sterile, high-rise conference room, its floor-to-ceiling windows offering a sweeping view of the city skyline. The sunlight filtered through the glass, casting long shadows across the polished mahogany table where I sat, facing two people who had just orchestrated the end of my career. Vincent, the ever-composed CEO, leaned back in his leather chair, fingers steepled as if this was just another strategic move in his ever-expanding empire. Beside him, Lauren Hale from HR adjusted her glasses, her lips pursed in a rehearsed expression of regret. "The company is moving in a new direction," Lauren added smoothly, sliding a manila folder across the table, her manicured nails clicking against the surface. "Your contributions have been invaluable, but we're consolidating the engineering division under the product development team." I let my gaze drop to the folder, but I didn't reach for it. I already knew what was inside. A standard severance package, 2 weeks' pay for every year of service, 3 months of continued health coverage, and a list of career counseling resources I had no intention of using. A neatly packaged goodbye for someone they had deemed obsolete. I took a slow, measured breath. "I understand," I said, my voice even, betraying nothing. For the briefest moment, Vincent's eyes flickered with relief. He had expected a different reaction. Outrage, disbelief, maybe even tears. After all, I was a 42-year-old woman in a field where youth and speed were prized over experience. I was supposed to break down, to cling to my position, to beg. But what Vincent didn't know was that I had seen this coming weeks ago. A misdirected email thread had landed in my inbox last month. An internal strategy document outlining plans to phase me out while retaining my work. A neat little maneuver to strip me of my position, but not my contributions. "We'll need your keycard, company laptop, and phone before the end of the day," Lauren continued, her tone firming up now that she sensed no resistance. "Your team will be notified this afternoon." I stiffened almost imperceptibly. My team. The brilliant engineers I had recruited, mentored, and fought for over the years. The same team that had helped me develop Nexus Core, the adaptive processing algorithm that now powered over 40% of Horizon Tech's revenue stream. The same people who still had no idea what was about to happen. Vincent had no use for loyalty, only results. "Of course," I said, rising from my chair. I reached for the folder, but I didn't open it. My fingers brushed over the smooth surface, the weight of 12 years compressed into a few sheets of legally binding paperwork. "Is there anything else?" Lauren shook her head. Vincent just smiled. "That will be all. Thank you for handling this professionally," he said, as if dismissing me was an act of mercy. I stared at him for a long moment, then let my eyes drift across the room, to Nathan Reed, sitting near the far end of the table, deliberately avoiding my gaze. Traitor. He had been one of mine once, a rising star, someone I had personally trained, guided, and defended when higher-ups had questioned his potential. And now he sat on the other side of the table, silent but complicit. "Take care, Maya," Nathan finally murmured. I didn't reply. I turned and walked out of the conference room, my heels clicking against the marble floor. As I passed the executive boardroom, I slowed just enough to glance through the transparent walls. Inside, Vincent stood at the head of the table, gesturing at a PowerPoint slide titled Q3 Revenue Projections. He looked confident, smug, completely unaware that in less than a week, his empire would begin to crumble. I reached my office, closed the door behind me, and leaned against it for just a second. Not out of weakness, just to breathe. Then I pulled out my personal phone, my fingers moving swiftly over the screen as I typed a single message. "It's happening. Friday is my last day." The reply came almost instantly. "Perfect timing. Contracts are ready. Dinner tonight to finalize details." I stared at the words, letting them settle in. A slow, satisfied smile curled at the corner of my lips. Today was Wednesday. Friday, I would walk out of Horizon Tech for the last time. And Monday? Monday would be fascinating. The office is silent except for the faint hum of the city outside. Dim lights cast elongated shadows against the walls. The glass windows reflect the skyline, a sea of distant lights flickering against the night. The only true illumination comes from the monitor, its cold glow stretching across the desk, illuminating the lines of code, emails, and confidential documents spread open before her. Maya sits motionless, her gaze fixed on the screen. One email stands out, a single misdirected message among countless others. She clicks. The subject line alone is enough to still the air around her. Subject: Project Nexus Core Transition Strategy. From Nathan Reed to Vincent Drake, Lauren Hale, CC Horizon Tech Legal. The thread unfolds line by line. Once Maya is removed, we proceed with patent submission under the company's name. As per legal's assessment, intellectual property developed on company time is owned by Horizon Tech, regardless of individual contributions. Priority action: ensure Maya is locked out of all project databases before her departure. IT has been informed. With Maya gone, we can shift the team to work under Nathan Reed's leadership. Given his understanding of Nexus Core, he is the logical successor. Her grip tightens on the armrest of her chair. The words are calculated, precise, a clinical execution of her erasure. There is no hesitation in their tone, no room for doubt. It had never been about restructuring. The moment they decided to push her out, the plan had been set in motion. Every contribution, every late night, every breakthrough, none of it had ever belonged to her in their eyes. Her fingers hover over the mouse. She scrolls back through the thread, searching for an opening, a flaw. The oversight reveals itself in a single document attached at the bottom of the chain. She downloads the file, scanning the text. Nexus Core patent filing status. Pending. The patent had not been secured. For all of Vincent's planning, for all of Nathan's maneuvering, they had hesitated. The delay left the technology unprotected, still unclaimed. The one thing they had relied on, the foundation of their power play, was incomplete. She exhales slowly. Maya moves methodically, opening encrypted drives, copying the email, every attachment, every legal note, every directive that had outlined her removal. She saves everything to an external drive, a silent archive of evidence. She reaches for a separate laptop, one untouched by Horizon Tech's network, a secured system. She navigates through private folders, opening a file that had been modified weeks ago. Nexus Core V 2.0, private development. Her version. An improvement, refined and untethered to company resources. The next stage, built entirely on personal time, on her own hardware, outside of corporate oversight. A technology that Horizon Tech had no claim over. She closes the screen and leans back, eyes still on the glow of the monitor. The city stretches beyond the window, oblivious to the shift that has taken place in this room. The balance of power has changed. Her phone vibrates on the desk. A number flashes across the screen. The message is brief. "Dinner tomorrow? I believe we have much to discuss." She considers the words for a moment before typing a single response. "Absolutely." She locks the screen and places the phone face down. Tomorrow, the game begins. The rooftop lounge of The Dominion, a private, members-only club where power is not just discussed, it is exchanged. A space designed for the elite, for whispered agreements and untraceable transactions. Dark mahogany, soft leather seating, and crystal chandeliers create an atmosphere of quiet opulence. Beyond the floor-to-ceiling glass, the city stretches out in endless lights, oblivious to the maneuvering of those who control its fate. The skyline reflects in the mirrored surfaces of polished tables, an illusion of grandeur. Below, the world moves on. Up here, the decisions that shape it are being made. Maya steps inside, her presence unhurried yet unmistakable. Dressed in a sharp black suit, she moves with calculated precision, her heels tapping softly against the marble floor. Every detail, her posture, her pace, her expression, is deliberate. She is not here for conversation. She is here for war. Across the room, at a booth reserved for the untouchable, Eleanor Cross waits. The CEO of Titan Dynamics, Vincent Drake's greatest competitor. She is a woman known for strategic brutality, for building empires on the ashes of those who underestimated her. A half-finished drink sits before her, the ice barely melted, a testament to her patience, or lack thereof. She watches Maya approach, her expression unreadable. Maya slides into the seat across from her. No greetings, no pleasantries. This is not a social call. A slim black folder is placed between them, its contents more valuable than anything else in this room. Eleanor doesn't touch it immediately. Instead, she studies Maya, weighing something unspoken. Then, with the slightest tilt of her head, she reaches forward and flips it open. Inside, the full technical schematics of Nexus Core. A beat of silence. The world outside continues, but inside this booth, inside this moment, everything stops. Eleanor's fingers trace the edge of the document, her eyes scanning the numbers, the architecture, the blueprint of the very technology that had made Horizon Tech untouchable. Finally, she leans back, a smirk just barely ghosting across her lips. You must really want him to suffer. Maya doesn't blink. I want him erased. Eleanor exhales a quiet laugh, swirling the untouched drink in her hand. And what makes you think I won't take this and leave you with nothing? Maya tilts her head slightly, her voice even. Because you don't just want the technology, you want the story. You want Horizon Tech's fall to be public, to be absolute. You want their clients, their investors, their market share, and you want Vincent Drake to know it was you who took everything from him. The silence stretches. Eleanor considers her, weighing the truth in those words. Maya has anticipated every move. Finally, Eleanor sets her glass down and taps a single manicured nail against the folder. And what do you get? Maya meets her gaze, unflinching. Ownership. Eleanor's brow lifts slightly, intrigued. Maya continues. This deal isn't just about revenge. It's about control. Nexus Core is beyond what Horizon Tech ever realized. Under Titan Dynamics, we're not just taking their clients, we're making them obsolete. You get the market, I get the innovation. We dismantle him from the inside out. Eleanor leans forward slightly, resting her elbows on the table, eyes narrowing with interest. And your team? They come with me. Their loyalty has never been to Horizon Tech. It's been to the work, and I won't leave them behind. Another pause. Eleanor nods once, satisfied. I assume you have a plan? Maya pulls out her phone, tapping out a message. Prepare the release. The reply is instant. On it. She sets the phone down and picks up her drink. Eleanor watches her for a moment longer, then lifts her own glass. The crystal clinks softly as they toast, sealing the deal in the only language that matters. Beyond the glass windows, the city continues, unaware. By morning, the first cracks will appear. And by the end of the week, Horizon Tech will begin to fall. Horizon Tech's executive boardroom, Monday morning. A fortress of glass and steel, high above the city. The conference table stretches across the room, sleek and cold, surrounded by high-backed leather chairs. Floor-to-ceiling windows offer a commanding view of the skyline, but today, no one is admiring it. At the head of the table, Vincent Drake stands, a presentation slide projected behind him. The title reads, Q3 Revenue Projections and Future Growth Strategy. His voice is smooth, authoritative, the tone of a man who believes he has already won. The executives nod along, some taking notes, others watching attentively. Nathan Reed sits near the end of the table, silent, his eyes flicking between Vincent and the screen. Everything is running according to plan, until the door swings open. A young executive assistant rushes inside, her face pale, clutching a tablet against her chest. She hesitates, eyes darting toward Vincent, but he is already annoyed by the interruption. This meeting is closed. His tone is sharp, impatient. The assistant swallows hard. Sir, you need to see this. Vincent holds out his hand. She places the tablet into his grip. The moment he looks down, his expression shifts. The color drains from his face. His jaw tenses. The silence in the room thickens as the executives notice the change. Nathan leans forward, catching a glimpse of the screen. His breath hitches. On the display, the headline burns in bold, merciless font. Titan Dynamics secures exclusive rights to Nexus Core technology. Below, a subheading. Horizon Tech's flagship software now under Titan control. CEO Eleanor Cross confirms partnership with former Horizon Tech CTO, Maya Harper. The words hammer into Vincent like a physical blow. His grip tightens on the tablet as he scrolls through the article. The details are painfully clear. Titan Dynamics now owns the patent. Any company using Nexus Core, including Horizon Tech, must now secure licensing through Titan. Maya Harper is named as the architect of the technology. Investor speculation suggests Horizon Tech may face significant financial losses. Vincent's fingers hover over the screen, unable to process the sheer catastrophe unfolding in real time. The room is deathly quiet. One of the executives, an older man sitting 2 seats down, adjusts his glasses and clears his throat. Vincent, what exactly is happening? Another voice, this time sharper, colder. You told us the patent was secured. Nathan watches, rigid in his seat, but says nothing. He had been there. He had seen the plan unfold. Vincent forces himself to straighten, his mind scrambling for damage control. He sets the tablet down and exhales slowly, masking the sheer panic threatening to take over. This is a misunderstanding. A scoff comes from the other end of the table. It doesn't look like a misunderstanding. Another executive, this one holding his own phone, frowns as he reads something. Investors are pulling out. Our stock is already dropping. Vincent presses his fingers to his temple, frustration boiling beneath the surface. We control the product. This changes nothing. We will resolve this. The conference room doors swing open again. This time it's Horizon Tech's legal counsel. His tie is loosened, his expression grim. A man who has just come from a war zone. Vincent, we need to talk. Now. He gestures toward the hallway, urgency laced in every movement. Vincent clenches his jaw, glancing once more at the executives watching him with growing skepticism. Without another word, he strides toward the door, stepping into the hall. As soon as it closes behind them, the lawyer speaks, his voice low, urgent. It's bad. Titan's patent is airtight. If we continue using Nexus Core without their approval, they can file a lawsuit that will bury us. Vincent exhales sharply. Number, this isn't happening. There has to be a loophole. The lawyer shakes his head. We checked. There's nothing. And it gets worse. Vincent turns sharply. Worse? How? The lawyer hesitates for just a second before delivering the final blow. Maya didn't just sell them the patent. She gave them full licensing rights. If we want to keep using Nexus Core, we'll have to pay Titan Dynamics for the privilege. Vincent's entire body stills. Everything he built, everything he maneuvered for, it's all slipping through his fingers. He breathes in once, steadying himself. Get me Maya. The lawyer doesn't move. Vincent's voice hardens. Now. The lawyer nods and steps away. Vincent pulls out his own phone, scrolling through his contacts, his fingers almost shaking. He dials the number. The line rings and rings and rings, until finally, it goes to voicemail. Maya, call me back, immediately. He lowers the phone, his hand tightening around the device. His breath is controlled, but the weight of realization presses down on him like a vice. For the first time in years, Vincent Drake is not the one in control. And across the city, Maya Harper watches her screen light up, his name flashing in bold letters. She reaches for her phone, then turns it over, letting it go silent. The game is no longer his to play. Horizon Tech has just entered free fall. Horizon Tech's executive boardroom, later that afternoon. The energy in the room has shifted. The walls, once symbols of power, now feel suffocating, closing in on those inside. The table, where Vincent once commanded with authority, has become a battlefield. But today, he is not in control. At the far end, the board of directors sits in silence, their gazes sharp, expectant. Their patience is thinning. They have already seen the headlines, watched the market react, and listened to panicked investors demand answers. Vincent stands, composed yet restless, gripping the edges of the table. His once carefully maintained confidence has begun to crack. This is nothing but a temporary setback. His voice is steady, but beneath it, there is strain. Titan Dynamics caught us off guard, but we have contingencies. We will restructure, rebuild. I already have our legal team exploring options. A pause. Then, Charles Whitmore, the chairman of the board, leans forward. An older man, experienced, unmoved by theatrics. He taps a single finger against the surface of the table. Legal options? His voice is quiet, but it cuts through the room. Are you telling us you never secured the patent in the first place? The question lands like a hammer. Vincent stiffens, a flicker of unease crossing his face. There were delays. Delays, Whitmore repeats, unimpressed. He exchanges a glance with another board member. Let me be clear, Vincent. We are not concerned about delays. We are concerned about Titan Dynamics owning our most valuable asset while we are left scrambling for explanations. Another voice joins in. Maria Langley, head of corporate strategy, a woman known for her ability to see weakness and eliminate it. We lost $1 billion technology overnight, she says, cold and factual, and the person responsible for securing it let it slip through his fingers. The market has lost confidence. Our stock has dropped 18% in a single morning. Investors are already withdrawing support. This is a calculated attack, Vincent argues, his frustration rising. Maya Harper orchestrated this entire situation. She manipulated the patent filing process. She blindsided us. Whitmore exhales, shaking his head slightly. Maya Harper did not blindside us, Vincent. You did. You were in charge. You assured us Nexus Core was secured. Vincent opens his mouth to respond, but before he can, the conference room doors swing open. A woman steps inside. The room stills. Maya Harper. She moves with ease, not as an outsider, not as a former employee, but as something else entirely. Vincent's jaw tightens, his eyes darkening as he watches her approach. She doesn't even look at him. Instead, she places a sleek, leather-bound folder on the table and turns towards the board. "Before you waste any more time searching for loopholes, let me save you the trouble," Maya says, her voice smooth, controlled. She flips open the folder. Inside, official licensing agreements, signed, sealed, unmovable. Titan Dynamics now holds exclusive rights to Nexus Core, she continues. And as of this morning, several of your largest clients have already begun negotiations with us. Whitmore barely reacts. "And you came here to tell us this. Why?" Maya finally meets Vincent's gaze, and for the first time he sees exactly what she has become. Not a competitor, not a former employee. Something far worse. "Because Horizon Tech has two choices," she says, stepping closer. "You can either attempt to rebuild from scratch, an expensive years-long process that will put you so far behind in the market that you'll never recover." Her voice remains even, unwavering. "Or you can negotiate a licensing deal with me." Silence, a thick, unbearable silence. Vincent's hands curl into fists. Maya doesn't smile. She doesn't need to. "The decision is yours." Whitmore doesn't hesitate. "We'll need to discuss terms." Maya nods, her work done. She turns on her heel and walks toward the door. Vincent can't stop himself. "You think you've won?" His voice is low, venomous. "This was personal for you. That makes you reckless." Maya stops, just for a second. Then she looks back at him. "No, Vincent." She takes a step forward, lowering her voice just enough that only he can hear it. "You were reckless, and now you're replaceable." She turns away, leaving him standing there, hollow and defeated. As the doors close behind her, Whitmore exhales, rubbing his temples. Then he turns to Vincent. "Horizon Tech cannot afford another mistake like this." A pause. A decision. "We need new leadership." Vincent's blood runs cold. Whitmore meets his gaze, unapologetic. "Effective immediately. You are removed as CEO." The words hit like a death sentence. Vincent's world collapses in an instant. The board members begin murmuring amongst themselves. Maria Langley leans forward, already discussing transition plans. Nathan Reed stares at the table, not daring to move. Vincent? He is already a ghost. Across the city, in the penthouse office of Titan Dynamics, Maya steps into her new space, setting down her folder. The skyline stretches before her, the world vast and open. Her phone buzzes, a message from an unknown number. "Impressive work." She doesn't reply. Instead, she gazes out at the city she now owns, and far below, Horizon Tech continues its descent. Titan Dynamics headquarters, the top floor of a glass-encased skyscraper, towering above the city like a fortress of steel and ambition. The skyline stretches endlessly beyond the floor-to-ceiling windows, a testament to the world Maya has just conquered. The office is sleek, minimalist, and designed with precision, a contrast to Horizon Tech's old boardroom, where arrogance reigned. Here, every inch of space is intentional, every element serves a function. This is not a room for debate. It is a room for decisions. Maya Harper stands at the massive executive desk, her gaze locked on the city below. The place she once worked tirelessly for, the place that discarded her without hesitation. Now it belongs to her. Her reflection stares back at her from the glass, a woman no longer bound by anyone's rules but her own. The silence is broken by the soft chime of a notification. She turns, picking up her phone. A single message. Nathan Reed. She stares at the name for a long moment. The traitor. The man who stood beside Vincent Drake, who watched her be erased, who did nothing while she was cast out of the company she helped build. She opens the message. "Maya, I made a mistake. You know I had no choice. I was following orders. Vincent is gone. Horizon Tech is falling apart. I need a new opportunity. Let's talk. She exhales slowly, tapping a finger against the screen. Nathan, the man who aligned himself with power, believing he was untouchable. Now, that power is gone, and he comes crawling back. Maya lets out a quiet breath. Then, without hesitation, she deletes the message. No response. No second chances. Some people are meant to be forgotten. She sets the phone down, turning back to the window, watching the city pulse beneath her. A kingdom she now controls. Across the city, Horizon Tech is disintegrating. In the once glorious executive boardroom, the walls seem smaller now, suffocating. The long table is littered with financial reports, printouts of plunging stock prices, and headlines that refuse to change. Horizon Tech's collapse, Vincent Drake removed as CEO amidst crisis. The board members, once powerful figures, sit in stunned silence. The weight of their failure presses down on them like lead. Their empire is crumbling. The company's stock has dropped 24% in 3 days. Investors are pulling out. Clients are jumping ship, reaching out to Titan Dynamics to negotiate new contracts. The patent is unrecoverable, and the man they once followed without question, Vincent Drake, is no longer in the room. A corner office, stripped of power. Vincent stands in silence, the walls around him bare. His nameplate is gone, his desk empty except for a single cardboard box. Inside, a few personal belongings, an expensive pen, a stack of old notes, a framed photograph of himself at a Horizon Tech event, shaking hands with a billionaire investor. Security stands by the door, waiting, watching. He moves slowly, placing the last file into the box, his mind numb, his body heavy with defeat. This morning, he woke up a king. Tonight, he walks out with nothing. His phone buzzes in his pocket. The last call he'll take under the name CEO of Horizon Tech. He hesitates, then answers. A familiar voice. Maya. Her tone is calm, measured, victorious. You should have killed the queen when you had the chance. The line goes dead. A quiet click. Vincent stands there, gripping the phone in his hand, staring at nothing. Then, with a slow breath, he picks up the box and walks out. He does not look back, because there is nothing left to see. Back at Titan Dynamics, Maya steps into the boardroom. A long, polished conference table stretches before her. Seated on the opposite side, a delegation of former Horizon Tech executives and investors. They are not here to negotiate. They are here because they have no other choice. Eleanor Cross, the CEO of Titan Dynamics, watches the exchange with quiet amusement. She has already won. The rest is just formalities. Maya takes her seat at the head of the table. Not a guest, not an outsider, but the woman who made all of this happen. She does not rush. She does not gloat. She simply pulls a contract forward, flips it open, and picks up her pen. A single stroke of ink seals the future. This is her company now. This is her empire. And for the first time in years, she owns her name. The city glows below, alive with endless motion. Maya stands at the window, her silhouette outlined against the skyline. Behind her, the office hums with energy, the sound of a new era beginning. A soft knock at the door. Her assistant steps in, professional, poised. Ms. Harper, the press is requesting a statement. What should I tell them? Maya takes a final sip of her drink, setting the glass down. She turns, a slow, confident smile forming. Tell them the game has just begun.